We have this year numerous applications from good youth groups, and one thing we are looking for this year in particular is good project in gender empowerment and women empowerment, but also as a key feature to think about when you're writing your proposal is how innovative and creative is your project. So imagine we are going through 8,000 applications to come down to the 1% who is going to make it. Then we are looking for innovative project that looks on youth empowerment in a new way, or looking at often asked question in a new manner. So please remember to be innovative and creative when you're applying to the Youth Fund. Also, the deadline is 15 April. You need to have all your documents ready by that time so you can submit it. You have to have a registration certificate that shows that you have been registered for at least 1 year at 15 April. So the last date of registration would be 15 April last year, so 2013. If you have a registration certificate that's newer than that, you have to apply with a facilitating organization. This can be a university, and another NGO, a UN agency, your local authorities. So you have different possibilities to apply together with a facilitating organization. Just remember to also submit your partner agreement. We have a template on the application system. It's very easy, but we want to know that it's actually you as a youth group who's getting the money and doing the job, and not the facilitating organization. We're going to have some questions that you have posted either at the Google Hangout side or at YouTube or in our application systems. So stay put for some questions and answers that would allow you to have a better feeling of the whole application process. And just once again, remember the deadline is 15 April.
From our system. So the first question will be from the South African National Council for the Blind Optima College students. We would like to submit a project proposal for blind and partially sighted youths and our Optima College. Optima College has a registration of blind and partially sighted youths from all backgrounds in South Africa. This project seeks to create information sharing, employment creation through employment coaching, and registering blind youths in communities surrounding for placement in technical schools. The project it's not clear what the project wants to do, but probably they're asking what documents they should have as far as registration in South Africa.
Okay. For registration, they need to be registered as a non-profit organization. So if they are not registered as a non-profit organization, it looks like they're registered as a school. They should apply with a non-profit youth-led organization, and they could work with them as a partner, as a facilitating organization, or just outright as a partner. This is the best way. So number one thing is a registration certificate as a non-profit organization, and then they should have a management team that's majority young people, and a board of governors that has 25% young people.
And other documents that you need to have are your budgets and your project structures. In addition to your application form, these are mandatory documents you need to fill out. We have templates on the application system you can download for both the project structure, the logical framework, and the budget. In addition, please remember, as Eric said, you need to have a majority of your management staff as young people, below 32. The same goes with your board. You have at least 25% under the age of 32. In addition, you need to have women involved. You need to have at least one woman in your management staff and in the board, in your board. And this has to be a substantial position. Please remember to submit your list of your people with the age and the gender when for your board and for your management staff.
Okay, thank you.
There's a question from the Golden Mothers Vision International. Probably the needs elaboration of how they can incorporate youth in agriculture, and what ideas do you have around that?
They're asking how can they incorporate youth in agriculture. John Andreas, can you take that question?
First, it's a very important question. As also Kofi Annan, our former Secretary General, have stated, one of the biggest challenges for sustainable development is to get young people more interested in agriculture and urban agriculture. How to get young people involved is a good question. We have some really good projects where the youth groups are training young people in urban agriculture, how to grow their own vegetable and then sell it. They have cooperatives to make more revenue and also to have a better safety net in the youth group compared to just working on your own. So they're forming small groups that are both harvesting and selling their products. We also have some very interesting projects where youth groups are using the rooftop in slum areas to grow herbs and other easy sellable products and utilize this space that wouldn't be utilized otherwise. One of the challenges in urban area is the lack of open space. So what some of the youth groups are doing, they're using either the rooftops or even some of them are using the walls in their slum communities to grow tomatoes, herbs, cucumbers, other types of easy sellable products. This creates food safety, so they have a better source of food for their families, and then they sell the products they don't use themselves to sell at the market very easily. So these are just a few examples how youth groups are involving other youth in urban agriculture.
Thank you.
Well, a different question from Omani Vocational Foundation. Can one apply for the funds to support youthful offenders in prison on vocational training and enterprise?
Yes. This project is very feasible because it's working for young people, even though they're offenders and in prison. It's still a stable population in our community, and the whole idea is to assist young people in prisons. So the project is very welcome to submit their proposal.
Just to add on to your comment, Eric, we have a very successful youth project in Dakar, Senegal, where we have a women group that's training young women in prisons in vocational skills to give them a revenue source and to make the life and transition from a prison life to the life outside easier because they would have a network and support group, and also to have a revenue generating income or activity the moment they step out of their prison. So we have, they are operating out of Dakar with both young men and young women in prison, and it's very successful.
Next question on facilitating organization. How does this apply?
An organization should apply with a facilitating organization if they are not registered for a minimum of 1 year. So if you're not registered for a minimum of 1 year, then you must apply with a facilitating organization. And the facilitating organization, it does not have to be youth-led, but it must be non-profit. It cannot be for-profit. It could be a government agency, it could be a UN organization, or other organization, but it cannot be a for-profit entity. So these are the areas where a facilitating organization comes into play. Either way, we encourage all applicants to try as much as possible to apply to show that they have partnership, because this builds sustainability when they are able to work with other organizations. It's good for the organization, the project, because it shows that after the 1 year funding, this project will have even greater chance of continuing and growing when they have multiple partners to work with.
Well, next question. Next question is on the application process. I'm sure most of the applicants have looked at the procedures and all. So one of them asks, I'm trying to complete the UN Habitat Youth Fund survey, and the survey asks me for the project number. Where can I find the project?
The project number is provided when you register, and then it's sent. When you register, you have to register with your email address, and then the information is sent to your email address for verification, and the registration information, registration number. This is where you'll find your registration number.
Dear Sir or Madam, I'm a previous grantee. I couldn't find a list of eligible countries. Azerbaijan, I think, now is not an eligible country. Is it so?
Azerbaijan is an eligible country because we have funded projects in Azerbaijan before, so it should still be there. But we shall confirm by checking with our technical colleagues to make sure that maybe there are no technical errors.
Next general questions will be, what is an NGO?
John Andreas, we could answer that?
Can you repeat a bit louder?
What is an NGO?
An NGO is a non-governmental organization. It means it's part of civil society. So in your registration certificate, you need to show that you're a non-profit. NGOs are in their nature non-profit organizations. As a youth group, it is you can either be registered as a youth group. Some countries register as an NGO, as a non-governmental organization. So it varies a bit from country to country what the specific statute of your registration certificate. But what's really important is that you're not registered as a for-profit company. An incorporated company is not eligible for applying for a grant.
And are organizations affiliated to political parties eligible?
No. if you're affiliated with a political party, you're not eligible to apply. In terms of affiliations to religious organization, this is a fine balance. You can be a religiously based or grounded organization, such as YMCA, YWCA, or any other religious grouping. But it's very important that the project you are applying is open for everyone, and it doesn't have any purpose of missionary activities. And as I said, it's open for all people, religious or not religious, and women, and so you can be a faith-based organization, but it's a very strict rule that your project has to be non-religious.
Okay, next questions. Can the registration certificates be submitted in the local languages?
Yes, it can. We, you as a youth group need to write. You should make a copy so you don't write on your original, but you should write, and the text is written in the application system that states that this is a valid registration certificate. So it's a bit easier for us to understand. But you're able to submit the registration certificate in your local language.
So a question on facilitating organizations. Who can act as a facilitating organization?
It's a quite wide range of actors who can act as a facilitating organization. The important aspect here, again, is that the facilitating organization cannot be a for-profit entity. So it cannot be a company that makes money for their purpose act as facilitating organization. It cannot be a political party either, as we just discussed. So it can be a national NGO, a local NGO, an international NGO operating in your country, the university, a UN office there, your local authorities, or your countries. So you have a wide range of options, but it's important that they are non-profit and that you have a very clear partner agreement or letter of agreement between you as a youth group and your facilitating organization. And please be be careful when you select your facilitating organization, because this is the organization UN Habitat is entering into a legal agreement with, and we are transferring the money to your facilitating organization. So this has to be an organization you trust, and that you have a good relation with, because they are receiving the money on your behalf. So you need to know that you are actually getting the money you are granted if you're successful.
Okay. Next questions. How do I know whether the place I am planning to do my project is a city or a town?
Good question. What we have, there is no international standard for urban as such. What the Urban Youth Fund has as our criteria is that the population in your area is at least 10,000 people. In addition, the main activities should not be rural-based activities, such as normal crop farming, that in most cases are a rural-based activity. So the minimum of 10,000 inhabitants in your town, and also the main activities in the area should be somewhat urban related.
Next question, how do I ensure that my project touches on livelihoods, and is this a requirement?
The Urban Youth Fund supports project in a quite wide range of topics. If you go to our application systems, you will and read the application guidelines, you will get a good overview of the different types of project we're funding. It doesn't have to be livelihoods only. We also support projects in governance related issues, technology, in climate change, in housing and reconstruction, capacity building and research, in urban law and local authority, local governance issues and youth participation. So it doesn't have to be economic activities. One good example of a project we're funding is a youth group in Palestine, Gaza, where the youth group are having live radio show with the mayor on how young people can participate in local decision making. This is not a livelihood project as such, but it's a very, very good project. So we have also Harassmap in Egypt, where the youth group is using technology and crowdsourcing to show the magnitude of sexual harassment against women, and then using this knowledge as a platform for discussing the issue with decision-making people and other stakeholders on the street, such as restaurant owners, bus companies, taxi drivers, to show the magnitude and also show that this is not acceptable with sexual harassment against women. Again, very good project, but not livelihood as such. So Youth Fund is encouraging project for all 7 thematic areas we are working on. And more information is in the application guidelines.
Okay. Next question is about details for the project budget. The question is, what is a project budget? What are the details needed? Requirements.
So for the project budget, one important aspect is that the administration part of your budget cannot be more than 10%. In administration, we count things as fee or salary for the project manager or other people, phone bills, office supplies, all of these expenses can only be at maximum 10% of the total budget. It's very important to also understand the difference between activity-related costs and just admin costs. Project-related or activity-related costs can be costs such as for a trainer or a facilitator for workshops or vocational trainings such as this would be under your activity part of the budget. While your project manager salary and things like that would be in your administration part. So it's important when you set up your budget that you clearly separate what activity-based costs and just general administration costs. Again, we are looking to understand your ID and your concept in the project. We are not looking at how well you are writing English or French or Spanish. So what we are interested in to understand your ID, and in order to do that, we need to have an indication of your budget, of your logical structure of your project, and these things should link together. So if you have one activity in your project structure, that activity should also be in your budget if it has any costs related to it.
Question from Collins. Can the youth fund increase its net base age from 32 to 35 years?
No. What we have set as the 32 years maximum, we're going to stick with that. But we say that the majority of the management team needs to be under 32. So everybody else can be older than 32 in the management team. The project coordinator must be under 32 because it must be youth-led. We want young people to be able to take advantage of this opportunity, which is really available to young people. The board, again, needs to have a minimum of 25% of board members who are under 32. So you still have the opportunity for a lot of people who are over 32 to take part. So for now, we will stay with the with those criteria where we give young people the opportunity, but we also encourage other people with more experiences to be involved, to give guidance, and to work together with young people.
Okay, another question about the result. When and where will the results be announced?
The results will be announced on Habitat Day. This is the first Monday in October, so this year the announcement will be 6th October, and the announcement will be on our website, press release, and also some other platforms we're using. So the announcement will not be done before 6th October on the World Habitat Day.
Could the project be based in 2 different countries, probably from Mexico and Colombia, for example?
No. One project has to be based in one location. But if the organization is based in both countries, they can, of course, apply for 2 different projects. But in the size of the project we are funding would not allow a multi-country project, so that would not be possible.
Okay. There is a question about the documents that are needed. On them there is the registration certificate. What is it exactly, a registration certificate?
The registration certificate is your legal registration as a youth group or an NGO. So this is the document that you're getting from either from your local municipality or at the national ministry or your local judiciary service. It varies from country to country who give you this registration certificate, but this is an official document from the government stating your name of your organization and at what date you are registered. And it's very important that the name on this registration certificate is the same as the name of your bank account. Otherwise, you will be disqualified in the screening.
One more question from Bethel. Can the Urban Youth Fund provide education support to registered youth groups?
Not sure what really the youth group is asking for, but we do support youth groups that have various types of training projects. Of course, the majority of the beneficiary of a project, the target group, should also be 15 to 32. So if this is a project for educating children, your project will not be seen as eligible. For the youth group who gets selected for a grant, we provide both training and capacity building for the youth group. So we are having trainings in project management and monitoring evaluation, and we have e-learning platform for the youth groups to have more training. We're also having a mentor program that come as very good support for the project coordinator and the key team in the youth group. So the Youth Fund provides a lot of training and capacity building for the youth group. We also support projects with a training component, but to have a project for primary education of children, that would not be seen as eligible.
Thank you. So those are the concluding questions. Our colleague here, she will talk about the gender component of the application this year, and then we'll go back to John Andreas afterwards for the closing remarks.
Okay, yeah. This year there is gender components that should be included in all the projects. That means that the project should have a gender-sensitive approach. In few words, a gender-sensitive approach is an approach that takes into account the different needs that women and men have in consideration of both the implementation of these activities of the projects, and also, but also the project formulation and the decision making. So we have to take into account, a good project takes into account both the needs of women and men in the project formulation and their implication in the implementation of the project, so in their activities. And both women and men should be involved in the organization, also as beneficiaries.
Thank you, Francesca. And if you have any more questions about gender components of the application this year, please refer to the frequently asked questions, which explains in more detail about gender sensitivity approach and how you could have a gender inclusive project. So with that, John Andreas, if you could conclude this session.
Thank you, Eric. So this session has tried to be a guidance and help for youth groups such as you who wants to apply to the Urban Youth Fund. Please remember, we're getting it's quite a lot of thousands of youth groups who's applying to the Youth Fund, and we are looking for the best, and we're looking for innovative and creative ways of youth empowerment. And in that search, we are looking for the good idea. We are not looking only at how well you're writing your application. That doesn't matter, but we need to understand what you are thinking. This is the second interactive FAQ session. We will have one more few days before the deadline of the project in order to answer any last-minute questions or burning questions from you. We will announce a date for that session at a later time, but please try to submit your proposal well ahead of the 15th April. At midnight London time, so GMT, midnight on the 15th of April, the application portal will close. So this happens automatically, and if you don't hit the submit button and have got your confirmation email before that, you have lost your opportunity. Then you have to wait another year until February 2015. So please don't wait until last minute, and we will not answer questions online and via email the last hour before midnight. So your questions will remain unanswered if you are too late. So please use this opportunity. We have a great program that you will benefit from if you're selected. One thing is the financial support, but we have a very good training, capacity building, and human support program as well for the youth fund. For more information, check our website on www.unhabitat.org/youthfund or our Facebook page on facebook.com/youthfund or the application portal as such at unhabitatyouthfund.org. So good luck, and we will see you in a few weeks for the third and final FAQ session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.